So I'm recording now. All right, so I'm remoting into the mode of computer, and I'm going to show that basically this is streaming over the VPN now. We just installed the VPN. If you're coming over to Motive, you're turning it on, you come down here to the bottom right, and you'll see the streaming settings coming up. And you can only stream towards one network at one time. You're basically choosing the local IP of the network you want to be sending it on. So I have this 192.168.196, which is our virtual production VPN. So right now I'm currently streaming to everyone here. There's no take there, so you can't receive the data. Right? We also have just the NYU Wi-Fi. We have Ethernet. Loopback means it's going to the computer itself. If you want to just use it on the same computer. So I'm going to keep it streaming, and then I'm just going to stream skeletons and rigid bodies, and that's fine. Let's find a take. It doesn't really matter. Let's double click on it. There's some people doing things. Which one? Invite. Which one? Come on, Motive. There we go. All right, so while it's running, I'm just going to keep it, make sure it's looping. And so I now have 3 takes here. I have left documentation inside of the syllabus here for how to install OptiTrack streaming plugin for MotionBuilder. You can also get OptiTrack's plugin for Unreal. There's 2 ways of doing this live stream methodology. The reason why Chris is going to be teaching today is because his is maybe a little bit easier than mine. Mine is what you do in the professional world, but I don't think that one has a preference over the other. We could do both of them. Essentially, I put everything through MotionBuilder first because it has a suite of tools for making things finesse, but OptiTrack has some tools that make it one stop shop where it just works and you don't need a finesse and you can just get things up and running. I think we'll start with that today. You could do either or. I could do documentation for both. My way gets a little tedious, but again, it has been confirmed with me that it is how it's done in the real world. So if you go to OptiTrack's website, you can download the MotionBuilder plugin. I think the most recent one is 2022. And I've been kind of staying in MotionBuilder 2020 for a while now because it just works fine. So if you don't want to have the most recent version, you can always find previous releases and install those. But I would get the most recent one, which does all the last 5 years worth of MotionBuilder, and then might as well grab Unreal Engine plugin. This can be installed into your engine, and I'll show you how to do that. The MotionBuilder plugin is an executable. You run it, it finds MotionBuilder, it installs it where it needs to go. And that's connecting OptiTrack to MotionBuilder, right? Then the next step would also be to connect MotionBuilder to Unreal. This is now in, I think, the marketplace, so it's also a little bit more straightforward. It should be there. Let's see. Okay. So what's cool is that whatever you do in MotionBuilder and Maya can be connected directly to Unreal. So you can make adjustments of animations and, in our case, do live performance. It involves turning on a few plugins, LiveLink being one of them. I'm going to do this not in our shared project, or should I do it in my shared project? No, I'm going to do it in my sample project I've been working on for the semester. Let me open that up. So that's in class. So I'm going to show you my MotionBuilder methodology, and then Chris will be showing you the OptiTrack Direct methodology for in the second half of class. So essentially, in MotionBuilder, once you've installed the OptiTrack plugin, open it up.
What's the IP mode is screaming out of that?
That's doing 192.168.196.
That one time?
Yeah. 120. I did not mean to do that. So it is, yeah, 110.
Got 196.
Yes. All right, so if I open up MotionBuilder right now, I should if I open up MotionBuilder right now. We're gonna take we'll take this guy. We'll find good old Ralph. Control B finds it in my content browser. And then I'm going to export the skeletal mesh. So go to Asset Actions, Export. For right now, I'm just going to put it in my downloads, save, and I'm going to make everything default. I'm not worried about it. I just need the skeleton, really. And then it has exported my asset. I'm going to go to my plugins and make sure I have Live Link turned on, which I think I should have had it. Yeah, because I had to have it for face capture probably. So it's already on. I'm gonna right click and I'm gonna create an animation blueprint. I'm gonna call it ABP for Animation Blueprint Ralph. And then this is different from a regular blueprint. This is just about animations. And all we really care about is getting live link data. Live link data. This is the same exact thing we did for the face. But so you can do a phone source for the face and do a motion capture source for the body and just feed both of these into each other. Right, so you get two of these. One being face, one being body. We've already done face, so I'm just gonna worry about body for right now. All right, so let's go to MotionBuilder, which I opened up 3 of for some reason. And in MotionBuilder on the bottom right, we have devices. And the first device we're going to look at is called OptiTrack Skeleton. And this is once you've installed it, you just drag it into the viewport. And then you look at the IPs. I want to receive it on, again, our IP for our VPN is 192.168.196. So my IP happens to be .242. And it is 110. Okay. So I am the local address. And then the server address is what was on Motive. I hit online. And there's like a 50% chance this works. This is not the right IP address. It's 196. All right, it's yellow. Now it's green. All right, so it sees data coming from the other computer into this room. All right, this is locally happening. So let's go ahead and say, let me see live data. And then what do you have in here? And voila, we're now getting mocap data. This can happen from your apartment. This can happen from, wherever. This is motion capture data is super lightweight. It doesn't seem to be animating. Right now it's yellow. So who knows what that's about. Let's go back and look at AnyDesk to make sure. Okay, they should be animating. They're not. What was that? So right now, this is the desired effect, right? Looks really great, right? This is mocap art. This just means there's a certain setting where it goes back to local. You just need to make it global. What's the better way?
In MotionBuilder, if you go to devices, and if you go to the navigator, go to devices
Mm-hmm.
on the left, like you just open it up and you select the OptiTrack, double click it, and then go to like properties, I guess, on the right. Go all the way on the right. Like in the resources pane.
Here?
So like up above versus properties.
Yeah.
You see where it says server uses local coordinates. Same for the 4th one.
Okay.
And then you just click it on. And then switch.
Go back. Yeah. That looks really cool too, though. All right, so you saw it here first, folks. Anyway, we have people doing things, right? And then we just need to, what we already showed you in week like 3 is how to retarget inside of um, MotionBuilder, which is why I wanted to kind of tease that, even though it might be easier to use for a Cocoa plugin and Blender. This is uh, another pipeline. So as you've seen, you've already get to characterize your data, and these are all auto characterized. So we already have the 3 actors here labeled, and we need to do is bring in our mesh, which I put in our downloads or in my downloads. And it's Ralph. Always something new. I've never seen this happen before. Some other things I'm going to set up is I'm going to go down to the system and make sure that we're always refreshing the viewer. Same thing as Unreal using less CPU in its background. We want it to always be using as much in the background as much CPU so that it runs performatively. And maybe I'll just be impatient and export it to my desktop. Sure. There we go. There's Ralph. So I'll go back to MotionBuilder, drag in Ralph, merge it, no animations. And there he is, hanging out, and his little skeleton nodes are a little bit too big. So I'll go to Ralph, and these null settings, I'll make them go down to 1. Select the armature, select branches, and make them all go down to 1. There we go. So Ralph has not been characterized yet. So go over to my assets, find my characters, characterize the hips, so it knows that it's a biped. And then for my list of characters here, I could choose Ralph. And what's cool with this is I could just save this project right now as an FBX and open up in all these settings. Everything FBX can basically record everything that's in MotionBuilder, and so I have everything here. And so I could just say in class live session. So if something crashes or something, I can always come back. Cool. So I'm gonna double click on my character for Ralph. Wait for a MotionBuilder to crash on me. I just saved it, so we can actually recover and be exactly where we were before. I'm gonna send this to fix your expensive software. All right, let's close my browser. We'll let it finish. Sure. All right, let's try one more time. So, motion. All right, let's see if we can recover our work. No, but it wasn't so hard, so I'll just do it again. Devices, OptiTrack skeleton. Throw it in there. Check the right IP address. Put in the right server. Was it? Am I forgetting? 110, yes. And then say online, say live, and create. We now know about going to properties and saying yes to local. And then let's bring in Ralph, who tends to wreck it. So he is our new Wreck It Ralph. Say, don't wreck it again. We understand that there's these nodes. I'm going to just find my hips because as everyone knows, there we go, characters, hips, it's biped, characters, and then say character, be driven by a character, and that character could be any of these three characters, right? And I can change it up live if I wanted to. So now Ralph is moving around. Select branches. Make the nodes a little smaller. Right? So we have Ralph doing mocap right here. And then now, if you go back to my the documentation, which I closed up, which is just Unreal Live Link MotionBuilder. You go find the MotionBuilder code. Basically installs into your downloads, or sorry, your documents. Right. So you have these different files for each version of MotionBuilder that you get from the plugins from Marketplace. You open up your preferences and load in the SDK. So settings, preferences, SDKs, and then find wherever you put that plugin, say add, navigate to the engine version, and say OK. And then once you've done that, you now have MotionBuilder to Unreal. So go back to your devices, and you'll see Unreal Live Link. Check out that root bone. So now this is the interface. So you see over my devices, I have two devices, OptiTrack Skeleton, which is receiving data from OptiTrack, and then Unreal Live Link. This is going to go local, but I can also send it to another computer. We're going to go online, find my Ralph character, find the hips, add it, maybe change the name to Ralph, and then it's good to go. If I come over here now to Unreal, let's do a new map. Basic. Throw in our animation blueprint. Open up Live Link. Look for MotionBuilder. And you see that it's sending data for Ralph. Come back over here to my animation blueprint. Choose the Ralph. Hit compile. Scale a little bit big, but that's fine. Let's scale him back down. Let's do 0.1 or 0.01. And so there he is. If I hit simulate, he's moving around. Place him wherever I want. Cool. And there could be 3 characters in here doing this, right? When we're going to be doing our recording, we want to be able to see our motion capture performers before we hit the play button or the record button. So we're going to add in this little component called, if I select my animation blueprint, I'm going to add in a component called live link skeleton. Live link skeleton animation. And now he's just animating even if I don't hit play. And this is a way for the performer to be able to see and position themselves where they want to be. So like that node is designed for motion capture stuff. Cool. So this looks crazy. And if I go back over to AnyDesk, you can see if I scrub around, if it's connected. No? Yeah, it's just because I have to go to my editor settings and say don't use less CPU in the background. So now I can scrub, go to the position I want, and it's all ready to go. Cool. And then you have the whole idea of live show control, right? So I'm playing with Ralph here. Ralph is on a cliff. I can come over to his details and maybe tell him to EVP. Let's go to the root. Oh, they changed how you do physics. Cool. Simulate physics. And now it's going to fall? No. Every engine version, these things change. You should be able to ragdoll while he's animating. Oh well. Cool. So again, we can add in face in the same way. We can add in our cameras. And that's that for recording here. And then anything else before we move into the other room? But
Did you take a photo? Or did you take a photo?
I don't know if we have time to get a tape recorder, but maybe we'll do it while I'm here. So what we have now, and this is where we're targeting in MotionBuilder. We can record in Motive, we can record in MotionBuilder, we can record in Unreal. For our intents and purposes, and what we'll be doing for the rest of the semester is doing take recorder. So with virtual production tools enabled, you should have a thing called take recorder. So it's not open just yet. Let's save. And then plugins, and we're going to do take recorder. Oh, it says already there. Cinematics, there you go. Take recorder. So this is just an interface for recording, saying what objects you want to record, and it opens up a sequencer automatically, and you just drag in what you want to record. So we want to record Ralph here. You see it says 12 properties, 2 components. So you get into the details of all the things it can record. By default, I want to make sure that I am doing spawnable. Spawnable means that it makes a new version of my character. That way, when I'm reviewing my take, I can watch the old take and also see the current live performance. It helps for blocking. I think it's the default setting. Some people get confused if they're recording because there's 2 people and they prefer it to be possessible, but then you're taking over the fact that you can't see live motion capture and they can't adjust themselves. So you'll see if I say spawnable, right now I can override my frame rate. I'm going to do 30 and I hit record. And now I haven't even hit the play button. This is just like in the sequencer. I'm not even hitting play, right? It's getting this whole scene. It's putting it to a sub scene where I can also make it not to a sub scene. There's a bunch of settings for this we could mess around with. I hit stop, come back to see review last recording. It pops it up. And like I said before, this is because it's spawnable. There's 2 of them there now. We have live mocap and we can review the other take. I find this preferable for doing skeletal stuff. But for props and things, I don't like this. So you can choose it asset by asset, whether or not they spawn or whether or not they're possessed. All right. Um, Also, again, it's doing a bunch of different. Here, let me go back. It's doing a bunch of different properties. If I'm finding that it's taking up too much bandwidth or that I'm getting too much data, I can remove some of these things. Like I don't need to know whether it's spawning, it's visible. I'm just looking at transform, right? So we can reduce it, and then as I make more and more settings, I can change and save these presets. Therefore, if we come back to our scene, we load a preset, it loads all our assets in, and we're ready to start recording. So you can have these all loaded. The main thing we'll be doing is any kind of live show control or motion capture performers and our actual virtual camera. Cool. Mm-hmm.
What was the way you said there the way you can do it to record the like subscene?
So that's just that might be on the global setting probably. So that's the good thing about recording to spawnable and subscenes is that you can kind of import them into any level. They'll spawn into that level without having to possess the object in there. Let me just look for the word subscene. I just saw it. Nope, that was subdirectory. My screen real estate is very small here. Record time. All right, so I don't care about them. Okay, right there. Record into subscenes. If I take that off and I hit record and then hit stop, you'll see that it's just exposed here on the top level. And that might be easier for you to. It's again, you'll make your own workflow as you go along. And then the other thing is we're doing is that we're not hitting the play button. So maybe you won't be able to preview what the camera's doing. If I hit selected viewport, that looks great. Not worried about it at all. And then, oh, it's because I'm in like the previous scene. It's getting all confused. Let's go back. All right, I hit play, and now if I hit record, watch it, it'll do a countdown for us. Yeah, and so now you're doing there. So you don't have to hit play or you can't hit play. It all depends on how you're doing it. This looks great. Finals are done. And then stop. And then we can stop here as well. So lots of different options to choose from. I'm going to go ahead and stop it here so that Chris has enough time to show you everything he wants to show you. And